Siena coach Jimmy Passos will lead a talented, deep, and experienced team this season, looking to build on its 23-3 record from last season. And Pete Iorizzo joins us here on the Monday morning edition of Big Board Sports. Good morning, Pete. How are you?
Good. How's it going, Roger?
I'm good, Pete. And Siena opens practice today, so we are ready to roll here, I guess, to talk college basketball. I'm still a little bit of football mode, but I read your column, and I think everyone's kind of on the same page, Pete, this season with Siena, that this could be a very special one in year 4 for Jimmy Patsos. They should be right at the top or near the top of the MAC with a chance to win it and go to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think if you look at the way he's put together this program over the last 4 years, this is sort of the year you're building towards. That first class with Levon Long and Marquise Wright. They're seniors now. He's got Bisping here for a fifth year. Bisping really the heart and soul of the team, if not the best player on the team too. It sort of all points to this being the year.
I mean, everyone's mostly coming back, right? 4 starters are back from last year's team. There are some guys who didn't play last year. There are some recruits that I think Jimmy is looking forward to seeing on the floor. But this is, as you pointed out, this is an experienced team. This is a deep team. Now, the non-conference schedule, I don't know what the win-loss record is going to be because the non-conference schedule is going to be tough. But I think if Siena fans are patient, I think once they get to the start of MAC play, you're going to like the results night in and night out.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a 27-win team when you look at the strength of the conference schedule, the non-conference schedule, I should say. I think it wouldn't surprise me if there are some losses in there early that might make Siena fans wink a little bit. You look at just how challenging the non-conference schedule is. There's a lot of sneaky, difficult games in there. Hofstra's really good. They have to go down there. UNC Asheville's a program that's in the NCAA tournament, it seems like year after year they have to play out there. Obviously, having to play Kansas is tough, and St. Bonaventure. There's a lot of really tough road games on that non-conference schedule. So I think one of the challenges this season might be sort of staving off panic if the record doesn't look great early on. Because I think it's going to be a team that gets better as the conference season goes on. And by the way, I'm talking about all the difficult non-conference games, and I realized I left out Albany too, which is a road game for them.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun right after Thanksgiving. I think everyone has been talking about that I heard when I was at the track this summer, I run into people and they were the buzz. I'm like, the track season just started. We're already looking ahead to November for Siena and Albany because the game is going to be at CEFCU and tough ticket and it's going to be a different setting. And I think a lot of fun. And I don't really know how Albany is going to be because they brought in so many new guys, but just Will Brown's track record would say that they'll be good again and certainly be good enough to compete in the upper echelon in the America East. But you pointed out in your column, newly hired coaches often talk about a 4-year plan. Well, here we are. It's year 4 of the Jimmy Patsos era. So perhaps this is the year.
Yeah, I think it probably – I'm sure he talked about a 4-year plan when he got hired. I'm not sure it went exactly the way they would have drawn it up. It wasn't a straight line from point A to point B. I think after winning the CBI the following year was certainly a disappointment. But I think last year was where you finally got the sense that Jimmy had a pretty good foundation in place here and, had finally figured out how he's got to act as the coach at Siena, how to bring in the kind of kids that are going to fit in at Siena. And, he had a lot of transfers over the first couple of years. And, one of the things he said was, I feel like finally now we have a group of guys that I'm really confident wants to be here. And I think a big part of it was working through that over the first few years. You saw a lot of player movement early on in Jimmy's tenure. And I think he felt like that was a problem. One of the things he wanted to get corrected.
One thing that has been consistent, Pete, I'll throw one name out there, Brett Bisping.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's funny when Jimmy took over. I think he was a guy a lot of Siena fans would have pointed to and said, "Well, if Brett Bisping doesn't come back, that's not the end of the world." And I don't think anybody would have predicted that 3 years later he would probably be the best player on the floor for Siena. He's really become the heart and soul of that team.
Pete, we know that the expectations for Siena are high in general, but being that this is that 4th year under Jimmy Patsos, is there added pressure on Jimmy?
I don't think so because he's been extended a few times now. I think he's got 3 years left on his contract. So, I mean, I don't think this is a make or break year in terms of his future. I mean, listen, when you're the basketball coach at Siena, there's always pressure, especially since it's been so long now since the program can really stay a contender for a MAC championship. I think certainly the fan base is really antsy to win. But in terms of Jimmy's job, I certainly don't think if this year is a disappointment that he's in any kind of jeopardy. I think the administration over there feels like he has this going in the right direction, and that shows that the fact that they gave him a contract extension, I think, tells you that they believe Jimmy is the guy who can build this back up. Yeah, I agree with that. However, a lot of the people that you do talk to, fans do say, and even talking to some people close to the basketball program, that, boy, this is a big year because if you don't win it this year, next year you lose so many, you kind of maybe have to start the process not all over again, but you're not going to pick up right where you left off. But this is such an experienced, deep, talented team with a lot of seniors. It's almost like this is the year. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think I thought Zach's question was referring more to Jimmy's job. I don't think he's coaching for his job.
No, not at all.
In the sense that I think he probably is coaching for his credibility a little bit with the fan base. I don't think there would be a lot of tolerance for this year being a disappointment. I think they feel like he has a roster in place, and I would agree that should be able to win. But as you guys know, it's tough in a one bid league. If let's say Siena gets to the MAC championship game and loses to Monmouth and doesn't end up going to the NCAA tournament, does that mean the year is a failure? I don't think so, but that's the difficulty when you play in a league like the MAC.
I was going to say, if you talk to some Siena fans, they would tell you it's a failure that they don't go to the NCAA tournament. But I'm with you. I think you can have a successful season. If you win over 20 games and compete for a championship, I mean, Monmouth returns a lot too.
They are good.
Yeah. No. And I think 20 wins against this schedule is a good season. By the way, too. I mean, it's not going to be that easy for them to get to 20. I don't think it would not shock me if their record doesn't look great coming out of the non-conference schedule.
And look, Will Brown says it all the time, and so does Jimmy. These are one bid leagues. I mean, it's one team goes, and anything can happen. You don't know what an injury or two, if that happens, would do to your team. And Monmouth is really good, so they're thinking this is going to be their year. But the tournament is at the Times Union Center, and I kind of like Siena. I mean, now Iona lost their best player, right, Pete?
Yes, I think Siena was more than happy to see H.T. English finally.
English
he only scored about 65 points in the two MAC tournament games over the past 2 years.
But I'm sure they've recruited some other guys that can fill it up.
Got some JUCOs coming in. If we know Iona,
I don't think anybody feels like the floor is going to come out underneath Iona. But I mean, A.J. English might be a guy who's playing at the NBA this year. So I think certainly Siena is going to be happy to if they get to the MAC tournament and it's Iona next to them on the bracket. They're going to be really happy that A.J. English is not going to be sitting on the other bench.
We react to Pete Iorizzo's column in the Sunday paper on our show every Monday morning at 10:30, and a timely one today, Pete, because Siena rolls out the balls for the official first practice of the season under Jimmy Patsos, and Will Brown will do the same thing on Friday with his Great Danes. Pete, always a pleasure Monday morning. Have a great week. We'll talk to you this time next Monday.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.